Hello, my name is Rupert Ponton. I'm Head of Insight and Communications here at Brego. Welcome to the latest Brego Leisure Intel monthly broadcast, and that's going to take a look at what happened in the leisure markets during the month of October 2025. We're going to review what happened to the touring home, holiday home, and the motorhome and camper verticals during the 4 weeks in October, along with a high-level review of the UK economy and its impact on leisure unit sales. So without further delay, let's start with the economy. At the time of recording this, the Bank of England has just announced that the base rate will remain the same at 4%. However, this is now rumoured. It is now rumoured that there will be another drop in the rate before the end of the year, which had previously been ruled out because of the position in the economy. Apparently, despite the fact that the rate of inflation remains at 3.8%, there are expectations that that rate will drop in the coming months, thus influencing what the Bank of England decide to do. Unlike the previous month, though, consumer confidence has improved by 2 points, and that is despite the fear of the now almost guaranteed tax rises that are coming in the budget on November the 26th. Some reports indicate that this improvement in consumer confidence could be being driven by the Black Friday sale events, although it is also made clear that some of the underlying sectors, underlying inflation in certain sectors of the economy have actually already started to decline and will gather momentum in the coming weeks. And if that happens, that would be absolutely great news. The negatives are, firstly, the drop in business confidence, which has gone to minus 31 from minus 27. Although I must point out, this is in line with forecasts. Expectations are that this is going to rally during the final quarter to minus 29, so a slight improvement, and is then set to continue to improve in 2026, and it's set to trend apparently at around minus 18. So that obviously is subject to what may happen in the budget. The second negative is the drop in the instant access savings rate, and that's not going to help encourage saving, although this could be done by design, because of course this will help the economy by encouraging people to spend more money. Finally, a quick mention of the unemployment rate, which grew by 0.1% to 4.8%, which was actually lower than was predicted. That is actually also set to be a blip before it returns to 4.7% in 2026. So the UK used leisure market, and for this we're using insight from the Brego Whole Market data, okay? So first of all, let's have a look at what's happened with touring homes. So total adverts in October were down by 3.8% in comparison to September, when they also dropped by 5.3%. So we're seeing a contraction of the number of units on sale. Now that would normally indicate perhaps that there is a good market, but the reality is that at this time of year, dealers often reduce the number of units they're advertising on the basis that the market is slowing and they want to cut some costs. As a comparison, in October 2024, the volume of adverts increased by 1.8%. So slight difference there. Two-berth adverts are down by a significant 18.7%, and that is off the back of a 6.6% decline in September, again suggesting an increase in sales. These models have a 17.5%, two berths have 17.5% share of the market in October, and that's down 1.2% on September, and in fact down 1.7 percentage points on the same period last year. When you talk about four-berth adverts, four-berth caravan adverts, they are down by 10.3%, and the market share was 60.2%. The market share is 60.2% for those. It was 62.3 in September, so it's down. What is that? 2.1% on the previous month, although it is up 0.7% when compared to October 2024. Days to sale at 53.8, which is 7 days slower than in September, and that is in line with the fact that overall sales for the month for touring homes were 14.2% lower than in September and 7.4% lower than they were in October 2024. Average used touring home price is down by 1.5%. To 16,193, and that does suggest that there's been sales activity at the higher end of the market, just driving that average price down. For further context, the average two-berth price increased by 6.7%. The four berths decreased by 2.9%, and the six-berth caravan average price decreased by 0.9%. Moving to holiday homes, total adverts increased by 3.3%, and that suggests a bit of a slowdown in the market, or more likely there's more stock coming to the market, which is a possibility at this time of year. Sales indicated by the number of adverts that we see removed from advertising platforms in October highlight a decline of 6.4%, so drop of sales of 6.4%, which is a big shift from the previous month where we saw sales increase by 16%. Two-bed unit sales were actually down by 20.9%, and that could be symptomatic of the volume of two-bed units that have been advertised, or it could just be a lack of demand for those because three-bed sales volumes remained at the same level as they were last month after a whopping 22.9% increase in sales in September. And that's intimating that this is really where the market demand lies at the moment. Days to sale actually dropped to 43.5, and that's an improvement of 7.5 days. However, when you look in more detail using the Brego Insight tool, as I would say, and the picture does vary greatly with significant increases in the average days to sale for 1-year-old and 6-year-old holiday homes, and marked declines for 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and 5-year-old units. So devil is always in the detail. Make sure you look at all the information, and using Brego Insight tool will help you do that. Average used holiday home price went up by 0.5% to 27,862, although it is worth noting that there's a significant variance based on the age of the holiday home, which is dependent on, and is also dependent on the models in the market. Okay, so some of the very new young holiday homes are really quite expensive. Motorhomes and campers, total adverts dropped by a nominal 0.03%, barely worth mentioning, which suggests that the market may be stabilising from an advert perspective. However, the sales in October did drop by 12.4% when compared to September, and the split between motorhomes and campers was 15.9% drop for motorhomes and a 3.2% drop for sales of campers. Using the Brego Insight tool, though, that's going to help you reveal that there was no specific trend really by age or by type. There wasn't a particular less popular layout or anything like that. It was just a bit of general market softening. Trade adverts were down by 10.7%, and that's perhaps an indication of what we were saying in terms of that advertising reduction in advertising and the cost cutting that comes perhaps at this time of year, as sales drop as well. Private adverts were down by 21.1%, and that's after a 9.2% decline in September. And I think that is just highlighting that private vendors are not in the market to sell at this time of year. It's really become a trend, and it'd be interesting to see when that stabilizes or actually changes, and we start to see private vendors advertise once again. Days to sale at 66, that's a notable drop of 8.4 days. And now that's interesting given that it is a slower market, and we've got lower sales, perhaps showing that the people that are out there in the market know exactly what they want, and they're going to buy that irrespective. The average used motorhome and camper price is up by 0.5% to £59,372. So in summary, economic pressure and the fear of higher taxation, I think, in the upcoming budget are having an impact on almost all sectors, retail sectors, and we're not excluded from that. But there has been that mild increase in consumer confidence. For touring caravans, all the indicators confirm that the market has slowed, and this is a specific reflection of the time of year for this market vertical. For holiday homes, the volume of adverts has increased, and there was a specific drop in two-bed home sales, but three-bed homes have remained stable. Now, the days to sale also improved, and that's also worth watching during November, and that could again be the fact that buyers in this marketplace know what they want, and they will buy very quickly. For motorhomes and campers, the volume of adverts remains steady, but sales drop markedly. As with touring homes, this does look like an adjustment to the winter market, but we'll just watch that as we go over the coming months. I do once again urge slight caution that we're now heading for the quieter sale period as we move into the winter months. Although, interestingly, the success of the National Motorhome and Caravan show during the month held at the NEC, it really did help boost the sector, and it had a great turnout. Many of the manufacturers reported some really good sales levels, so that's positive. So finally, in roundup, I just wanted to reiterate that if you need or you want to improve your market insight and understanding of the nuances of today's UK leisure sector, then you need to speak to the Brego sales team, and they will show you how the Brego pricing and market data will help you to improve your understanding and ultimately increase profitability for your business or park. Thank you for listening. I will see you soon.